Good afternoon and welcome to the Standing Committee meeting for Wednesday, September 28th, 2022. All council meetings will continue to be live streamed on the city's website. Our first order of business is roll call. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Here.
Excuse me, Mr. Coghill.
Here.
Ms. Gross. Mr. Kraus.
Here.
Mrs. Cal-Smith. Ms. Strasburger.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Lavelle, Chair.
Here.
6 members present.
Thank you. Our next order of business is public comment. And I'd like to remind the public that all the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation which are or may be before city council. Profanity will not be permitted. After you are called, please provide your name and neighborhood for the record. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak. Our first registered speaker is Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller.
Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller, Belle Silver. I also have a residence in Hanoi, Vietnam. Global Intelligence Society, U.S. National Candidate for President 2024. GlobalIntelligenceSociety.org. Key number one for me in all this is vote by voter verification. And by that, I mean uncensored individual ability to check his or her vote control. Key number two is free speech exercise and public comment. Local government, council, and commission meetings here in Pittsburgh and across the United States, uncensored. A concern of Pittsburgh City Council, PCC, is intelligent information transparency. Transparency issue 1 regarding resolution 2022-0711 authorizing $85,000 to $146,000 to Cohen Law Group Services dealing with a pending telecommunications litigation. Transparency requires, in my view, requires specification of this TC litigation. Mr. Lavelle, what was it? Citizens, the Pittsburgh City Council representative refuses to specify the TC litigation we pay a minimum of $85,000 to do. Therefore, PCC transparency commitment is contradicted by PCC anti-transparency re 0711, a lie. And why was Cohen Law chosen? Transparency issue 2 re resolution 2022-0712 authorizing a $125,000 payment to M. DeCourt Rhodes, Frischman, and Rizza after DRFR litigation. Mr. Lavelle, what was this litigation? Mr. Lavelle is silent. Citizens, the PCC refuses to say what was the point of the litigation we pay DRFR to settle. Therefore, PCC transparency commitment is contradicted by the PCC anti-transparency action regarding 0712, another lie. Saying so is required for transparency. Transparency issue 3 regarding the resignation of City Clerk Brenda Pree, CCBP. Transparency requires specification of the reasons for CCBP's resignation. I emailed Cal-Smith on 6 September 2022 requesting an answer to my question, which is, why did CCBP Brenda Pree resign? No answer. Why no answer? Why has there not been a word thanking Brenda Pree for 5 years of work for Pittsburgh? Citizens, PCC refuses to signify the reasons for CCBP's resignation. This is contradicted. The transparency is contradicted by the anti-transparency. This is a lie, and it is a disgrace to our people.
Our next registered speaker is Naomi Mullen. I do not see Ms. Mullen with us today. I don't see her in chambers. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Please come before City Council. Please provide your name and neighborhood for the record. You will be given 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Yvonne F. Brown. I live at 715 Mercer Street. That's up in the Hill District in the high rise. I came again to speak, but I want you to understand why sometimes I come down and I seem like I'm angry. It appears to me that you do not have transparency. Now, why didn't we know that there was a meeting? There was not a meeting yesterday? I'll tell you why. Peduto, before he became mayor, had promised me Ms. Brown, that any deviations from the 2 meetings, Tuesday and Wednesday, it will be announced the first thing of the meeting. Now, you can see that it didn't, because the lady in the wheelchair, she didn't know about it, and she really watches city council and watches him. So it goes to show that you just talk a whole lot of stuff and you don't do. You make a whole lot of promises and very few are kept. I am upset because when the delivery driver on Friday was talking about how he almost got killed because he just made the decision to close Bedford Avenue. But he also told me about Bruce Krause. He had lived on the south side. He said before Bruce became a councilman, they went to him and asked him, are you going to protect us? And about the drinking and stuff. He promised them that he would, and he said, do you see what happened? I brought up the part about Bruce had buses for the drunks to go to the bar and back. Buses, do you understand? Buses for the drunks to come finish drinking and go out in your neighborhood and kill you. But we can't get a bus at the bottom of the hill to go to the hospital. There was times that I did not come to city council because that meant that I would have to take the bus and come through all the way through town, through people that may have had the disease. And I am susceptible. I have bad health, plus I'm 76 years old. That adds to it. I'm telling you that don't look at me as just being down here to fuss. I come down here to try to make changes. I want you to understand that you are supposed to represent us, not sit and talk amongst each other, not come to the meetings on time, and when you come, interrupt me. When I was fussing about Miss Gross, didn't Mr. Burgess say, oh, Miss Brown, you're not allowed to talk to her? I asked her, why was she coming in late and why was she interrupting me? But he tells me I cannot ask her or say anything to her. Whereas you, as the representative, sort of said, Miss Gross, you are interrupting. And you keep interrupting me. I don't think the law allows you to do it, but you have no monitor. There's no one monitoring him. He can change it like he wants. I've seen it. 20-something years, this is the worst council table. A whole bunch of people at the table that don't know the law, or if you know it, you act like you don't, Mr. Burgess.
Love you too.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Last call. Seeing none, that'll move us on to our standing committee's agenda. The first committee of the day is Finance and Law, which is chaired by myself. First new paper is Bill 750.
Bill 750, resolution further amending Resolution Number 647 of 2020, effective December 23, 2020, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2021 Capital Budget and the 2021 Community Development Block Grant Program and the 2021 through 2026 Capital Improvement Program by reducing bridge upgrades by $500,000 and increasing West Carson Street Bridge by $500,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. Bill 755.
Bill 755, resolution transferring a total of $410,000 within the 2022 operating budget from the Office of Management and Budget and Parks and Recreation to the Office of the City Clerk. This transfer is to correctly budget funds that are to be utilized by City Council to provide grants to community and sports groups.
Motion to approve, discussion.
Second.
Thank
Discussion,
you.
Madam President.
Thank you. Do you want to come to the table? Thank you. Is this your first time at the table? Since you've been hired on this side.
Yes.
So introduce yourself for the public then, please.
Peter McDevitt, Director of the City Council Budget Office.
Okay. And could you give us a little synopsis of what you've done here?
Sure. This is money that was always budgeted for the purpose of City Council to be able to give out small grants to community groups and youth sports leagues. It was originally budgeted in the Office of Management and Budget and the Office of Parks, or Department of Parks and Recreation. Now we're just moving it into the City Council's clerk's budget so that it gives council members more discretion and there's more transparency on how it's being spent, and it's easier for you guys to reach out to community groups and actually provide it to them.
Thank you. And I just want to thank you for your work and Rhea Price for her work, Deputy Director Price, for your work on this. But you came in, and in a week's time, you figured out what we couldn't figure out since January. And Solicitor Friesen also made sure that we were within the law, and Madam Clerk was involved in the conversation, so I thank you all for your collective work on this. But it is just basically to make sure that we have grants to help the community, as we always have, but just it was trying to come up with the correct process on the with the other side, and some of it was in city parks. And so what I was trying to do was make sure when youth athletic associations, they all call us for equipment, and during COVID and any time of the year, they keep around 10,000 kids off our streets and into something productive and positive in the community. So we all want to help those, make that a little bit smoother for them and do what we can to help them. And so these are some of the grants, and we're going to eventually tie this into with field permits. We want to make sure that field permits and that the things that we have been talking about, Rev, and Councilman Coghill, that we talked about, making sure that the coaches know the psychology of the game and how to talk to kids to inspire them and not put them down, but to inspire them and to help them, through this and through life and through sports. That they understand how to handle a sports emergency, and they receive the training from our EMS crews, and just those types of things, and making sure there's clearances and tie those in with permits for the field and funding. We'll be glad to help you and support you, and we'll work with the mayor's office, but we want to make sure what we're doing is positive for the kids in the end, and that's the focus has to always be on what's best for the kids. So thank you for coming up with this process currently, and I'm looking forward to a broader conversation where we do a little bit more with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coghill.
Yeah. First, I want to thank you, Madam President. This was really well needed, well accepted in my district. I'm always getting calls for everything from this athletic organizations. I grew up in my athletic organizations, and it's what kept me off the streets. It's some of my best friendships have derived from that. I went back a little bit ago. We're trying to find a pretzel warmer, okay? I thought, it's no problem. I'll find the money for that, right? We're like $1,200, and I thought, my goodness. So this just frees us up, and I love being able to have the control to give to the things I think our council knows best as to where these dollars need to go, because we hear it firsthand from the coaches and the people who run the organization. So I just want to say a big thank you to you. I know you were directly behind this yourself, and really good thing. So appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for always advocating for the kids.
Councilwoman Gross.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank Councilwoman Smith for advocating for this. We've all said it many times at this table that we should be funding, maybe not all of us, but we should be funding more for the kids in the city. And certainly, if people don't realize it, we have not been funding these leagues at all. And so it falls on the parents, right? There is a price tag to having your kid want to play soccer or baseball or softball. You have to pay out of pocket. You have to pay to cover the uniforms. You have to pay to cover the equipment. You have to pay to, even coaches these leagues are buying on their own. Even like the help me, somebody who knows sports ball stuff. Like, what is the thing for like the baseball field, the stops? What is that like thing?
The backstops.
No, when you literally like first base,
bases?
second base, the base things, right? They're buying all their own equipment.
Yeah, right.
Right. I've had coaches think, everybody is laughing at me at the table. It's true. My vocabulary around the sports teams is not the best. And my coaches help to educate me, but I have a lot to learn. My kids don't play those sports. I've had coaches go out and actually pay to do a pitcher's mound on their own. I've had coaches who, after imploring us month after month after month, because they've had to forfeit games, and their little kids had to lose that game because our field was not playable, right? And so that's not equity, right? And I've sat with coaches and watched them try to raise funds to provide scholarship funds, basically to cover kids' costs whose parents couldn't pay the costs, so that they could participate. And so I am happy to vote for this today. This is at least a start But in a better system, we would be covering all these costs for these kids. All right, so thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you, Councilman Kraus.
Thank you. I don't mean to rain on anyone's parade, but
you do.
I will not vote in favor of it today, not based on the spirit of the bill or what it intends to accomplish, but more so because of the lack of criteria being set up by which one would make application for the funds. And that if the funds are solely at the discretion of the member of council to distribute, it amounts to walking around money, which can be very dangerous. So if I can be convinced by if I may, I have the floor. If I can be convinced by Tuesday that there's criteria established and a application process by which those truly in need and deserving of the funds can be the ones at the front of the line to receive the funds without any kind of, if you will, political lens being viewed by which it's viewed, then I'm happy to support.
If I may,
Sure.
You bring up an excellent point, and I'm very happy to hear that these are concerns of yours because these were concerns of ours. Me and Deputy Director Price, and I have to give a lot of credit to her, have put together a draft of a policy on how groups that are established 501c3s can apply for grants up to $4,999 to receive these fundings, and some guidelines set out on how they can spend them. And just like the city has to do whenever we receive grants, they have to report back to us after they spent the money exactly on how they have spent it, and to make sure that everything is on the up and up.
So I appreciate you saying that. We did have that conversation. I'm glad that you reminded me of that. Policy can come and go and change according to council or a mayor or newly electeds coming in. If there's a codification process by which application that you suggest can be made, I'm happy to support. But I'll use your verbiage. It's the accountability of publicly collected and distributed funds, and that there is it's really about good finance, good budgeting, and accountability to taxpayers whose money we are spending, to make certain that those that truly are most in need and deserving of the funds have a process by which they can acquire those funds for the use that they have. So if we can establish that, I'll be the first one to vote aye, but I need to see that be established.
Absolutely. And right before this meeting, we did meet with the council president to go over our draft of the policy. And I think before the end of the day, we can share this with all council members, just to have that outlined.
Perfect.
And, do some refining and tweaking as necessary to make sure that we're covering all our bases, because everything you're saying, I 100% agree with.
It's $500,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Burgess.
Just quickly, I'm a little confused. The money that we get that's part of the capital budget, the council gets, the CDB, what is that called?
CDBG.
Yeah, but it's
And we
called,
also do ACPO and NED.
but don't we,
Those are all grants we
Public
have
service
control
grants?
over.
That's yeah.
no, the local option, the
ULOs.
ULO. Doesn't council still have ULO money that we give out? Huh?
What is that? What's the acronym?
We have that, right? That's why I'm a little confused, that I probably am the only council person who I don't direct my ULO. I never have. I've always given it to a third party every year, right? And I've never, not one time, earmarked money, because I agree with Mr. Cross's statement today. I guess what confuses me, though, is I don't see this different than the other monies that council has power over. And so I just don't know the difference. I don't know the argument, because we already can do this. And so I think we should and each individual member can make their rules more stringent, right? We could, since we all have individual power over it, each of us can make our Mr. Coghill knows his district better than I do, he could make his rules even more strict and more stringent, that they have to, I don't know, have 80%, people, people on public assistance, or getting government assistance. I just think that For the record, I've said this since I've been a member of council. I do not believe, for the record, any member of council should ever give out any dollars directly to any organization, that all money should go through a public process. I have said that from the first day I was elected. I have said that consistently every year, and I've not done it because I believe in it that strongly. But I think that this is not different. That's all I'm saying. This is not a different process than we'll use for any other things that we do. And so, but I don't want to argue. I just put my position out there and let it go like that.
Thank you. Anyone else? First round? Second round, Madam President?
Thank you. And I was just going to mention just what you mentioned, that we all have that money. We all have funding that we do distribute similarly, probably with less restrictions than we just put on here. So I just want to make sure that that's known, that we, made sure that it's a 501c3, not using a conduit, that sort of thing. So I think it's a little bit different. And I would also say that we actually tried to do this in a different way first, and it was coming up with the process, which was difficult. So then it was suggested that we take this funding and a lot of other funding and distribute it. So there's more coming over from the administration that they suggest that we distribute, because we know our communities. They know that we know the groups that are doing things and groups that claim they're doing things, and that we also know what's going on. And how to do this process, that we also have we really do have a really skilled team in the budget office now that, is amazing. So, and with a solicitor that's always willing to make sure that we're doing everything above board. So with that said, I feel comfortable with this, but I also think it's what we continue to talk about. This money is not just for the athletic associations, it's for community groups as well. And the cost of doing some of these athletic associations is getting so exorbitant that people are trying to raise funds. They're trying to have meetings now to figure out what they can do to put kids on the field. And the cost of not doing them could be detrimental to a community. So not having kids on the field and off the streets, not having community groups doing the events and the things that they do in the community. This is a minor cost for the work that they do, associated with keeping our areas safe. And I would just say, I think that one of the bigger things we should be doing is, instead of making it difficult for the groups to put kids on the fields or do the work they do in the community, is I think that one of the things I keep advocating for is adult fields, where we can make sure that we have an adult complex with a facility where adults can rent, and you're not taking kids off the field all the time. Because these organizations put a lot of money and a lot of time of their own into these fields, and in their heart and soul into the helping these kids. And we should be doing whatever we can on our side to help support those efforts. And I really think this doesn't even go, as Councilwoman Gross says, far enough. I really think we should be doing a lot more, but I think it's a conversation we all have to have. And I know you've been having some of those, and I think Mayor Gainey's his chief of staff and the Mayor Gainey, they've been having, not Jake Pollock, Jake Wheatley has been having some of these conversations on how we can help the athletic associations and the organizations and to strengthen the work that they're doing in the community and strengthen our resolve to help them. So I think that those are some of the conversations that we have to have going forward in the budget season. That's it. But I'm glad to hope that we can provide more information to give everybody comfort level in voting for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Strasburger?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Madam President, for initiating this conversation. I think it's really important. If I might have missed this, and if I did, I apologize. Within the policies that are being considered or that are under development, that I'm eager to see as well, for the reasons that have already been mentioned, is there consideration of something that would bake equity into the policies so that it wouldn't be left to each individual council member who would be less likely? As Reverend Burgess pointed out, we certainly could set our own policies that a certain percentage of, beneficiaries of the funding have to be on public assistance or something like that. But I think it's less likely each council member is going to do that. With CDBG, there's built-in requirements that are federally mandated. Is there something that we could, or you think should be considering to bake into the policies at a council level as a whole, rather than discretion of each council member?
That's an excellent point. Not all council districts are built equally, as you're aware. We don't have anything in the policy like that now. That's certainly something that we could explore more of. But part of this is that we've talked about. We want to make it easy for you guys to be able to work with community groups and you know the community groups and organizations better than we do. So we wanted to give you some discretion on that, but I don't think it's a bad idea to build in something about equitable distribution of that. That's something that we preach all the time and is very important. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Councilman Kraus?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Again, just to make my point perfectly clear, it is not the added value of what it is that we wish to accomplish, is the means by which we are accomplishing it. There's been a significant amount of discussion around community development block grant dollars. You and I met just last week and discussed the much stricter and more stringent application process by which must be initiated and completed before we can distribute CDBG dollars. I was just saying to Councilwoman Gross, my largest recipient of CDBG dollars this year was not an applicant for CDBG dollars. And because they are not, I cannot award them. And they do the highest they have the highest level of service area in the 3rd Council District of any organization I have, but because they have not made application this year, I cannot award them funding. So there are stringent criteria in place for the distribution of the community development block grant dollars that we are in charge of. And so I'm not by any means questioning the spirit of what it is that we hope to do. It's just that if we, as responsible fiduciary agents of the city, and our primary purpose is to manage the budget, that we have criteria established for the distribution of the dollars. That's all I ask. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Wilson?
How's it going? How is this different than the funds that were given out from the previous mayor's office? Or I think that was through the city parks. How is this different? There was like all these teams and youth athletics that applied.
They applied.
Where was that funded through?
Yeah. It went through, if I'm recalling what you're talking about, it was earlier at the very beginning of the year, I believe. That was through Parks and Rec, and they put out requests for proposals. So it was over the $5,000 threshold at which you can just give discretionary funding without bidding. So they did receive bids from groups, and we entered into contracts that City Council authorized that legislation to enter into those contractual agreements. So this would be directly groups reaching out to council offices, and it would be under that $5,000 threshold that we would be able to give money to.
To be under the 5,000, and then which is currently the way it operates with other funds that are at City Council. We see on the agenda.
Yeah.
So we would see this on the agenda.
Yes, it would still you would still have to
public,
approve.
still come back, still be
City
public.
Council approving.
The whole public would see it.
Yes.
They may even see the same name that we give CDBG dollars.
I think that's a very important part of the process, to speak to Councilman Cross's concerns, that we want to make this very transparent, that everybody knows that who is receiving the money.
Because that too came back. That actually, like, their name will actually be on the agenda, as opposed to that name actually wasn't on the agenda. You had to click another link and then you'd see the full list, which was like 50 groups.
It was in the deeper part of the legislation. Yeah.
Okay, and these are CDBG dollars, but these
are not CDBG dollars.
Oh, they're not.
This comes from the general fund.
The general fund.
Yes.
Oh, the general fund. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Councilman Coghill, second round.
Thank you. With all due respect to Councilman Kraus, we're all elected officials here at this table. You know, our neighborhoods, I would think, trust us to use taxpayer money in a responsible way. And if they don't, you would put in place, certain guidelines that we have to go by. I would actually like to see more of it. To me, I hate battling red tape, whether it be through the administration, whether it be through the budget office. I like having that direct impact because I feel we know best as council people. We know the athletic organizations that have been neglected in the past. We know the ones that need the money. I know the ones that ask me every year, and I have a hard time getting it for them. With the limits that you put in place. I would actually like to see a lot more of it, and I would like to see the discretion of the council member to dictate where and how that money is spent. And we will be judged by it when our election, on election day. So certainly if we were to do anything, unsavory with that money, it would all flush out. But I like having that responsibility with the council office. This, again, Madam President, thank you for allowing us to, or making it where we could have this, where we could allocate this to where we know it needs to go. And again, nobody knows where it needs to go more than the council representative. We're the ones that hear it. We're on the front line. So any more money you can get towards this, I'd appreciate. Thanks.
Thank you. Third round, Madam President.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't think this was going to be so controversial, but I will also add that we also hired a forensic auditor in the budget office. And so there's somebody that's always going to be watching and looking over. I know some of you didn't participate in the process and the hiring, but that we do have somebody with that type of background in that office, and they'll be able to be a part of this. And we just talked about maybe we can engage.
Yes,
her a
yeah,
little
Paris
bit more.
Durham in our office. It's not me. I'm not an auditor.
I know, but as soon as
but-
it'll be looking right away, like they didn't
Paris
put the
Durham
resume or-
did that in the controller's office before coming up to city council.
Yeah. And so I'm just saying, we just talked briefly that maybe that could be something that she could be a part of
Yeah.
because she could help us with this process. But I think we oversee every dollar in the city of Pittsburgh. So to pretend that we're not funding things and doing things is, it's just disingenuous. I think that but I do understand that we want to make sure that the process is transparent, that people have the information, and that's what we're trying to do. And making sure that groups that are registered 501c3s, that are in good standing with the state and had filed federal 990s, that those are the groups that we'll be funding. If they didn't do that, I think the mayor's office and Councilman Burgess are working in ways to help build the capacity of organizations that don't meet those criteria. And Councilman Lavelle is too as well. So thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll abstain.
One abstention. Affirmative recommendation. Thank you. So that now takes us to invoices. Need a motion to approve the invoices.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Invoices are approved. Need a motion?
Or was this the other question on the invoices? I just wanted to ask a question about the, probably a learning experience for me, the EMS costs that go to other EMS companies. I wanted to see if anyone was on the line that could answer that, and if not,
Peter should talk to, right?
I don't know if he's listening.
Yeah.
Budget Director, do you know anything about the, maybe we could do like a pre-question before you come here. I have a question about the EMS cost to other agencies. I'm just trying to get a handle on, might be a learning experience for me, but why?
Are we talking about the invoices?
Motley Crue.
Oh, so we had the concert.
Oh, sorry. I just realized what you were asking. This is what we charge when we're asked to staff it, I believe.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
bring
We don't
in-
have the full capacity for
Yeah.
Pittsburgh EMS to staff that. So other municipalities come in, and we pay them to help cover the overages that we can't cover ourselves.
Do they set the cost, or is it a set cost that we?
That I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know
Yeah, I can look into
how
that.
that cost is set, and then that's determined through our EMS bureau. That what the capacity is,
Yeah.
and then they make the call on.
Yeah, they would know if they have enough staffing and what the shortage would be and how much is needed for what level of an event.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay, I just want to ask a couple questions about that.
So now we need a motion to approve the interdepartmental transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. Need a motion to approve the P cards.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
Discussion.
Discussion, Councilwoman?
Forgive me, I don't have it memorized whether the $5,000 limit is something that we need to waive or whether it's over 5,000 for P cards.
No.
It's really
Okay. Thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? P cards are approved. That'll take us to Public Safety Services Committee, chaired by Councilman Kraus. One supplemental paper, Bill 778.
Bill 778, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Safety to enter into an agreement or agreements with the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership for services rendered by Clean Team ambassadors within the Southside Parking Enhancement District at a total cost not to exceed $375,000.
Motion to approve. Brief discussion, please. Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Chair, if I may, I just want to speak briefly to what a resounding success the Parking Enhancement District has been over the years. These are not publicly collected tax dollars. These are not publicly collected tax dollars. These actually come in from patrons that use the South Side that feed the meters. On any given weekend, we collect approximately $3,500 to $4,000. That is what we use to fund the Clean Team. That's why you're seeing this cost of about $375,000. This is a renewal of a contract that we have with Downtown Partnership and Block by Block, which provide the Clean Team services. Clean Team picks up on an average 16,000 pounds of trash off of East Carson Street every month. 16,000, can you imagine 3 or 4 months of no Clean Team at 16,000 pounds of trash, what the street would look like in no time at all. So it's an incredibly valuable service they provide. The partnership with Downtown Partnership could not be better with Block by Block. And again, the dollars you're seeing here are not publicly collected tax dollars. That is meter revenue that is generated by people that come in to participate in the quarter. So there's no cost to taxpayers for the service. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coghill.
Just out of curiosity, 375, is that for salary?
2 years for
2
the
years
contract with
for
Downtown
this-
Partnership.
For salary and whatever else?
May I?
Derogatory, yes.
Yeah, we're really proud of how the Clean Team is structured. They are full-time unionized employees that have health care benefit, retirement, and everything. And so we pay, I want to say it's somewhere in the vicinity of about $13,000 to $15,000 a month to provide for the 2 full-time and 1 part-time people to be on the street. There's coverage every single day of the week. And again, full-time unionized health care benefit, retirement employees.
Yeah,
And loved by the people. They have become quite the celebrity in the neighborhood. People absolutely love them.
Yeah, everybody loves somebody picking up trash. I think it's really great. I think it's great for the South Side. But when you say not taxpayer money, it's metered parking, so it would be parking authority.
That is correct. So how do I want to say this? We do not acquire any revenue from any kind of citation. This is only the money that has gone into the meters. It goes from 6 p.m. till 12 midnight. Only street meters, about 670 of them, not the parking lots. Those are parking authority, and goes to parking authority, and then it is sent over to the city once a year, somewhere around February, that we get, and it's in the vicinity of about $200,000. We took a major hit during pandemic, no question about it. So far, in the 4 years that we've collected PED revenue, we have exceeded $1 million. If we had not suffered global pandemic, we would probably be getting close to 1.37 million. Again, not out of taxpayer pocket at all, completely generated by revenue of people that come into the neighborhood to keep it clean and safe.
Right.
Yeah, so it's the public safety director and the public works director have oversight, O&B as well has oversight of it. So we have provided for cameras as necessary, additional police resources as necessary, and of course, Clean Team. And this really is about, today what's before us is about the renewal of the contract with Block by Block to continue our Clean Team.
I think it's great. I'd like to see it expanded, to be honest with you, to downtown. Are you know? That's all right. My neighborhood as well. But downtown, there's not a ramp I go up where I don't see around the grates and, the drains just littered with plastics and, debris. So, okay, I guess I'll have a conversation offline as to how we can expand it maybe into my neighborhood as well.
Happy to help. There's certain criteria that must be followed, but I'm happy to help
Right,
any
right.
way I can. Thank you for your support,
All right,
members.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. New papers, Bill 748.
Bill 748, resolution amending Resolution 898 of 2021, authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Safety to enter on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh into an amended professional service agreement or agreements with Lexipol LLC for software subscription-based policy management, wellness, and training services at an overall cost to the city not to exceed $557,049.67. The current agreement is being amended in order to add funds for 2 additional years' subscription to the Cortico Wellness app utilized by personnel in the Bureau of Police, Fire, and Emergency Medical Services.
Motion to approve, brief discussion, please.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I apologize. I have not had opportunity to have conversation with the Public Safety Department regarding 748. Is there someone with us this morning or this afternoon, please? I'm happy to
See,
hold
Tom, I see the acting Mr. Strangecki is with.
This is Deputy Chief Stan.
Hi, Chief.
1 minute, I actually had a conflicting meeting, but I'll be on in just 1 second, just give me one.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I'm not sure where we
I
are.
think you said to give him 1 minute.
Okay. If you'd like, can we hold this open and we'll
Sure.
go into the Public Works Committee?
We can
Thank you.
certainly do that. Mr.
Okay, I'm back on, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Hi, Chief. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. Could you give the council just a brief overview of what we're asking of the council here in the extension of the contract?
Yes, so back in 2021, the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police obtained the Cortico Wellness app and entered a 1-year agreement which was paid through grant funds. The purpose of the app was to be able to provide police, Pittsburgh police and others with the opportunity to receive support or reach out to others regarding issues of health, support, and coping with traumatic events. That agreement expired at the end of, well, it expires at the end of September, and our Pittsburgh Member Assistance Program had recommended that it be extended. And with me, I have Sergeant Robert Monticelli. He could probably speak a little bit more about the Cortico app. And just to provide some clarity, is that Lexipol, who we have a contract with, has acquired Cortico, and that's why we are requesting to update the agreement with Lexipol in connection with this app.
Thank
I
you.
call Sergeant Monticelli.
Yes, please, Chief, thank you very much.
Okay. Sergeant Monticelli, you able to join us?
I thought he was bringing the sergeant on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He is. He's on here. I just got to get him to unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Sergeant,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
All right. I apologize. I don't use Zoom on my phone all that often. I'm not at work right now, so I'm taking this on my phone from my house. So I can speak to the Cortico app from a PMAP perspective, if you would like, and kind of give you a background of it. and anything else if you would like me to do so.
I think really what the council would need to understand is the request to extend the contract for 2 years, and is the additional cost a total of approximately $58,000 for the 2-year extension, or is that the totality of the cost of the contract?
So first off, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. The cost of the app for the Bureau of Police is actually at a discounted rate. They're offering us a discounted rate for 2 years. That discounted rate is actually $32,000 a year. And that is by going into a 2-year contract, they're offering us a $4,250 a year discount. So the portion that the Bureau would be for the app is $32,000 a year.
$32,000 a year. So the sum of $558,000 that's before us is the totality of the cost of the contract since its existence, not the cost of the 2-year extension.
I believe the chief could speak to that. Yeah, the totality of the $500,000 is the cost of the other contract that the Bureau, I think, is looking at going and entering with Flexible, in addition with the Cortico app Wellness app.
Councilman Kraus, that is correct. The $557,000 reflects the total contract with the additional $32,000 per year added into the total cost.
Perfect. Chief, that's all I needed to know. Thank you, Chief, very much. And Sergeant, thank you very much. That's all the questions I have.
Thank you, Councilor Wilson.
Thank you.
Hello, Chief and Sergeant. I just want to ask the basic question. What is Cortico Wellness app?
Chief, would you like me to take that?
Yes, please.
All right, members of council. So the Cortico app is, they are a company that specializes and are leading the public safety sector in wellness information and apps. So in October 2020, we entered into a contract with them. Actually, it was 2021. I apologize. So they have developed a wellness app where they put out content that is designed specifically to help with the mental health of first responders. That includes police, fire, medics, and the fire medic bureaus also have access to that app. On the police side, which is what I can specifically speak to, they design content specifically for law enforcement agencies, and they have a background in doing that. So we offer this app out to all of our bureau members. It is also available to their family members because we believe that if you can get to the family members, you can get to the officers in need. The app covers a wide variety of topics to include officer wellness toolkits, fitness, nutrition, injury prevention. We have a therapist finder. We have a whole bunch of self-assessment tools. We have the ability to send out push notifications. We have a Get Help Now feature where if an officer is in crisis, they can click on the Get Help Now feature, and that takes them directly to a suicide prevention line or directly to a therapist.
Okay, thanks. Is this app, so it's available to all 3 bureaus? Is this just self participation? Like, is this required? Like, if there's a traumatic event, is this required that everyone that was involved engages in the app, or what happens?
So the app itself is not required. We do not require officers to download it on their personal devices. However, I can tell you that since we rolled it out October 22nd, 2021, we've had 406 officers download the app. And we've had it basically approximately 2,000 user sessions in that time. So over roughly half the department has the app currently on their phone. Our goal is to get 100% of the department. We realize that getting out there and getting more information on what the app is, how they can use it, how it gives them anonymous access to help is key. So I can give you more stats. Since 2021, we've had almost 100 people click on the therapist finder. So we look at that as, a good thing. We've had 55 people click on the PMAT peer support link so that they get phone numbers to actual peer supporters. And we've had 14 different people click on the Get Help Now. And where these numbers come in is these are people who we believe are in crisis at that time. There's roughly 160, 170 people who we believe were in crisis using this app to reach out for help immediately.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for answering those questions.
Any further discussions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. That takes us to Public Works Committee, chaired by Councilman Coghill. One supplemental paper, Bill 765.
Bill 765, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Works to apply for grant funding from the PA Department of Community and Economic Development Keystone Communities Grant Program to provide funding for the rehabilitation of McKinley Park Community Center. The grant proposal includes a request of $500,000 with a local match of $660,000 to come from the City of Pittsburgh's 2022 and 2023 capital budget. In the event the grant is awarded, this resolution provides for an agreement not to exceed $1,160,000 for this stated purpose.
Motion to approve, brief discussion.
Second, very brief discussion, please.
Please, I'll defer to you, Councilman.
So, thank you, Councilman, and thank you for your willingness to move the bill ahead. I am really excited about the administration's continued commitment to both McKinley Rec and to Warrington Rec, vital components to hilltop communities. I'm really, excited to see these bills in front of us today. I appreciate the support of members to move the bills forward today, and I appreciate the commitment of the administration to hilltop neighborhoods and continued commitment to the rec centers and what they provide. So I'm definitely going to vote in the affirmative here. I have. Damn. Did it? Good. Yeah. I apologize. I'm definitely going to vote in the affirmative today. And I apologize. I have to excuse myself for the remainder of the bills. I have a meeting at 3 o'clock in the district. But appreciate the members' willingness to assist us today.
Councilman, there were a couple bills you related. You just want to speak to those very briefly?
The only other one I did was the grant application for Warrington Rec, which is very similar, although it's a different funding source, very similar to the grant request to support McKinley Rec. So two very vital components to hilltop neighborhoods, McKinley Rec and Warrington Rec, and sincerely appreciate the administration's commitment to bettering those facilities because of what they bring to Hilltop. So thank you for moving that ahead, and Councilwoman, thank you for moving that ahead.
Thank you.
And Madam Clerk, may I register aye votes on all remaining bills?
Any further discussion? Councilman Coghill?
This is a question somebody here I'm sure can answer for me. When it says matching funds, I've never seen matching funds where our match is higher than what the grant is for. Is that commonplace? I don't remember seeing
Just
it.
in the South.
I'm sorry, just in the South.
He said just in the South. I don't know, but we can find out.
Yeah,
I'll be
okay.
happy to ask.
That's it. No, I'm fully supportive.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Thanks,
Affirmative
everybody.
recommendation.
See you, Bruce.
Bill 476.
Bill 476, resolution granting a vacation of an unopened portion of Bryant Street laid out in the Morningside Manor Plan of Lots as recorded in PBV 31, page 2 in the 11th Ward, 7th Council District.
Motion to hold 2 weeks.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill be held 2 weeks. New papers, Bill 744.
Bill 744, resolution providing for a reimbursement agreement or agreements with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for costs associated with the preliminary design phase of the West Carson Street Bridge project, providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $900,000. This resolution serves to authorize only the reimbursement agreement or agreements at a cost to the City of Pittsburgh not to exceed $1,500. Future resolutions will authorize the project-specific service agreements.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. Bill 745.
Bill 745, resolution providing for a reimbursement agreement or agreements with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for costs associated with the preliminary design phase of the Penn Avenue Signal Improvements Project, providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $753,660. This resolution serves to authorize only the reimbursement agreement at a cost to the City of Pittsburgh not to exceed $6,000. Future resolutions will authorize the project-specific service agreements.
Motion to approve.
Discussion?
Brief
Seeing-
discussion.
Brief discussion, Councilwoman?
I remember hearing about the Penn Avenue Signal Improvement Project as it related to Penn Avenue. I thought it was Penn Avenue through East Liberty and that area. Is this the same one we're discussing, or is this a different neighborhood?
I think it's the same one. I think it's the one near Whole Foods, that whole, I think that stretch near the new Whole Foods.
Okay, so this is not a new project. Got it.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. That will take us to Human Resources Committee, chaired by Councilwoman Strasburger. We have one bill, Bill 751.
Bill 751, resolution providing that the City of Pittsburgh enter into a professional services agreement and/or contract with Employers' Choice Screening for professional services in connection with pre-employment and promotional background investigations for all City of Pittsburgh candidates, excluding uniformed police, fire, and EMS personnel, and providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $200,000 over 4 years.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. That takes us to Land Use Economic Development Committee, chaired by Councilman Wilson. One deferred paper, Bill 661.
Bill 661, resolution accepting a new street name, Woodring Court, in the 23rd Ward of the City of Pittsburgh, as per recommendation by the City of Pittsburgh Addressing Committee. The following street name was approved by CPAC in June 2022. The name listed in this ordinance shall be made official in accordance with the Pittsburgh Code Title IV, Public Places and Properties, Chapter 420, Uniform Street Naming and Addressing.
Motion to hold 2 weeks.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill be held 2 weeks. Bill 747.
Bill 747, resolution approving a new institutional master plan under the Pittsburgh Code, Title IX, Zoning, Article 2, Chapter 905, Section 905.03D, and Article 7, Chapter 922, Section 922.12.g for Carnegie Mellon University, entitled Carnegie Mellon University Institutional Master Plan 2022, dated September 2022, on property zoned EMI 4th, 7th, and 14th Wards, Council Districts number 8 and 5.
Motion to approve discussion.
Second.
Does this have to be held for public hearing?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, just, maybe I missed the, okay, motion to hold for Cablecast public hearing.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill be held for Cablecast public hearing. Bill 753.
Bill 753, resolution further amending Resolution Number 606 of 2020, effective December 1st, 2020, as amended, entitled Resolution Authorizing the Mayor and the Director of the Office of Management and Budget to enter into an agreement or agreements with agencies to provide emergency shelter services, street outreach services, rental assistance, and housing relocation and stabilization services, and/or data collection activities as associated with 2020 Emergency Solutions Grant, funds at a cost not to exceed $1,216,133, and 2020 Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS, HOP with funds at a cost not to exceed $1,140,292 by amending various emergency solutions grant line items and authorizing a subsequent agreement or agreements.
Motion to approve discussion.
Second.
Discussion, Councilman?
Is there anyone on the line that can speak to the bill?
I'm here, Councilman.
Who's that? Can you state your name, or?
It's Kelly Russell, Assistant
Oh, I
Director
can
of
see you
Community
now.
Development.
All right, thanks. Okay, so this is amending to add funds of 1.2? Oh, no, I'm sorry.
No, actually,
it exceeds up to.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Funds not to cost. Yes, what's the amendment for? Is it to increase?
No, we're not increasing, we're moving money again. This is a unfortunate piece that got missed when I came to visit you all a few weeks ago. So we're just moving funds from one group to another group so we can spend down the full allotment of the funds.
I don't know why I couldn't make out what you were saying.
No.
Let me just read the
Do you
bill.
want me to repeat? Do I sound better now?
It's probably me and the sound. I probably can't make it out. Okay, so yeah, I'm just having trouble following the bill. So it's 2020 ESG funds that are being reallocated from what to what?
We're moving money from one group to another group to spend down the full allotment of the funds.
Okay, and the first group is what?
The first group was CHS. And the second group is we're moving the funds to Auberly so Auberly can spend down the funds that CHS could not.
I don't see CHS.
Councilman,
Here's a hard
our
copy.
budget director may be able to answer your question.
Okay, yeah.
You're not going to see the way, it's one of those line items that was done last time. It only shows the full amount as opposed to showing the individual groups. Mind you, these funds were back from 2020.
Budget director?
Just to clarify what Kelly is saying, they're just moving $12,548.09 from the Community Human Services to Auberly. So it's all ESG money. They're just moving the deliverable agency.
I gotcha. All right, thanks.
Yep.
Further discussion?
Thank you, Pete. I should have said that amount myself.
Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. Bill 754.
Bill 754, ordinance amending the Pittsburgh Code Title 9, zoning, Article 1, Section 902.03 zoning map by changing from RMH multi-unit residential, high density, and R1DL residential single unit detached residential low density to EMI educational medical institution, 7 parcels in the Allegheny County block and lot system, 7th and 14th wards.
Motion to approve discussion?
Second.
Is this also, this is related to Bill 7? Yeah. So should
Yes.
this be held for public hearing as well?
Yep.
We join them at the same time?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so motion to hold 754 Cablecast public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill be held for a Cablecast public hearing. That takes us to Urban Recreation Committee, chaired by Councilman Burgess. One new paper, 749.
Bill 749, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Parks and Recreation to enter on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh into a license agreement or agreements with the University of Pittsburgh in order to conduct free clinical testing activities for seniors at city recreational and/or senior centers through programs including but not limited to those offered by the School of Health and Rehabilitation Sciences and the School of Pharmacy. The license agreement shall be at no cost to either party.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. That takes us to Intergovernmental Affairs Committee, chaired by Councilwoman Gross. Bill 768.
Bill 768, resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Pittsburgh and the director of the Department of Public Works to enter into a cooperation agreement with the URA in order to receive a grant from the Pennsylvania Budget Office Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program for the renovation of Warrington Recreation Center in the amount of $1,500,000 and authorizing expenditures for this stated purpose.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. Our last bill, Bill 746.
Bill 746, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for property located at the corner of Sapphire Way and Lorigan Street, Allegheny County, at block and lots 26H338 and 26H339.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. That exhausts our agenda for today. We do have meeting announcements. Tomorrow, Thursday, September 29th at 10 a.m., council will hold an executive session on litigation matters. Next week, council will hold both our regular and standing committee meetings on Tuesday, October 4th at 10 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. respectively. Speaker registration will close at 9 a.m. October 4th for the regular meeting and 12:30 p.m. October 4th for the standing committee meeting. To register to speak, please fill out the sign-up form on the council meeting webpage by the deadline. You may also call the city clerk's office at 412-255-2138. Is there anything from members? Councilman Wilson.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to hold post-agenda on the, to get an update on the ARPA spending plan.
Second.
I'm sorry, on the ARPA what?
Spending plan.
Oh, okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Madam Clerk will work with you to get that scheduled. Anything else from members? If not, need a motion to approve the minutes and adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Bye.